All right, so what we're going to talk about is when we don't know the size, the actual size of the array. So what we're going to try to do here, we're going to make a field of a certain size. Let's say I have a field and for the sake of the example, I'm just going to make it small. And I'm going to say maximum. And let's say I have 10 elements. I want to make an array of up to 10 elements, but doesn't mean the person is forced to have, or the user will have to fill up all the elements of the array. So for instance, I have my main here. And the example might not seem very useful at first, but it's easier to explain it that way. And then we'll apply it to real life scenario. So I'm going to make an array, and I'm clumsy today. I'm just going to call it values. So I'm going to be asking the user to enter a number, elements of an array, and it has to be greater than 0, and I want to stop the loop when they enter the number 0 or a negative number. So like a sentinel value. So I could do something like this. Let's have an input number. And now make a while loop. Well, the input is greater than 0. Make a space here. So zero to n. So alright, so the user enters a number. I want to store it in this array. Well, if I want to store it in an array, I need to know what position of the array I'm going to store it. So I'm going to make another variable. I'm going to call it current. I'm going to initialize that variable number 0. And here I'm going to say basically, the user is going to enter up to 10 numbers. After the user enters the 10 numbers, we're going to add them up. So, why don't I use a for loop? Can anyone tell me?
Because for loops only execute once, and the while loop will be able to count all the way up to the max value. It's going to be
so a for loop is a counter, right? It will go through every element of the array. But I might not want to go through all the elements. I might want to stop. What if the user enters 0 at the beginning? Right? So, in this case, I have 10 elements of the array, but I may not only use none, or use 1, or use 5. I could use up to 10. So I could make another variable called answer. I'm going to initialize that one to 0 also. Then I can just do a simple for loop here. I'm going to do a print f here. And at the end, I can just do print f, and I'm going to go back to spaces, and then space equals, and then So if you type this in your computer and run, and tell me what you get. So if you enter 2 numbers, this should only print the first 2 numbers of the array, although my array is 10 elements. So I guess I could say this max is the capacity of the array, and this current is the actual size. So type this in Visual Studio and run it. Tell me if it works. I don't want to be going back and forth the projector.
Is there a sentinel in a while loop?
You tell me.
I read something about it.
Well, what's a sentinel?
Because I remember you said that what if for the array, if the user inputs 0 and the max is 10, and would the value inside the array be a different value if the user puts 0? Like,
Well, no, follow the code and tell me.
okay.
So, we allocated space to an array here, but we don't know when we begin the program how many elements of that array we're going to use. I use the number 0 and 0 in binary has other names, right? If it's talking about, or we're talking about a pointer, and the value of that variable that's a pointer is all zeros, we call that a null pointer, right? So remember at some point we used this null when we were initializing time over the random. Yes?
A quick question. It says that input isn't initialized in the beginning.
Oh. Then you gotta change this thinking. Your own type of loop. I wish I could just copy paste that thing. So because I want to ask this at least once, I use the do while loop, right? Now this will work. Yeah, it'll work, I think. You got it easy, Control X for you. So we got this sentinel value we're looking for, right? Do you type it all this so I can erase it? Still typing them.
Answer isn't, it has the same problem for answer.
You put this. I initialize it here.
Never mind.
Working it.
So, you're done? Can I erase it? All right. Well, I'll put the video, you can pause it. So, we're gonna do something similar here. And I want you to remember, when I was printing the months, I got this garbage at the end, right? So, well, I erased it, but I had a for loop to the current size, right? I stopped there. It might be the whole size of the array. You might keep going. So, instead of integers, I'm going to use characters. I'm going to use, I'm going to call this user ID. Now, remember when we're talking about the printf, we got the escape characters. Do you remember those? Escape characters are this, right? We use N for new line. We use B for backspace. We use 2 for if you want to print the actual backslash. We use T for tab. There's the double quotes, single quotes. There's another one called Carriage Returns.
And the A. There's an A for the beeping sound of the computer.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. That is backslash A. Lowercase.
Okay. And there's this one I wanted to show you. The 0. That backslash 0 is binary 0. It's also known as a null. And we're going to use this character, binary 0, instead of using that current size, we're going to use that character to indicate that's the end of the array. I mean, user ID can be any size. There was a point in time Microsoft said you cannot have more than 8 characters. That was NT4, which was ugly. Every time there was a problem with the domain, there's this program called Dr. Watson. It comes to fix it for you. It didn't do anything, but that's what they call it. So, if I do something similar as I had before, I could do this current, right? And I could do the same do while loop. I'm gonna put a printf before. Enter user ID. And I'm gonna use, for now, character by character. Well, do I need to put another character variable? Eventually I'm going to assign it to this position, right? But it's kind of expecting an address. I'll just put the address. Or you can declare another variable for the input and then put it in the array. It's the same thing. You look at me, that's too weird. Okay, let's put it the old way. Let's declare a variable for the input. I'll just do this.
Because it's going to store the typer or the user's ID, the input character. That's what I'm registering. But
Okay.
thank you.
So input is different than that null thing. Well, actually, it would be, let's try this for now.
Sir?
Yes.
Is for the user's input, he's able to input up to 8 digits or 10 digits,
No, these are characters.
or 10. He's able to input 10 characters, and the increment for current is leading.
Oh,
To,
okay. Thank you.
to a pause.
There. So, if I'm going to print this out, the way I had it before, it looked like this, where I had a for loop. Man, I can't type that. And I had it like this. But this is not the most efficient way to do things. Although this works. So, instead of doing this, I'm gonna comment this out. I would like to do something like this. But if I do this, if you run this, you might get this weird garbage at the end, like we were getting in the months. The reason is a string is an array of characters, and it uses that character to know where the string ends. So in here, we gotta tell the computer, hey, where the string ends. So, yes.
Another pause after a while in the input variable, it's while parentheses input, not a new line.
Yeah, so basically user just click enter,
Yeah.
didn't type anything.
Oh, that means okay. And the current can be less than 10 characters.
I mean, you can keep adding as long as you don't exceed the 10 characters. So what we're gonna do now is gonna add this line. If I do this, this will work. Although right now you're entering character by character, I know. I'll show you easier ways to do the strings. But right now I want you to understand the concept, how it works. Gotta teach you the academic way, and then I'll teach you the plumber's manual. Yes?
Zara, can you remind me what the space O was?
The backslash O,
Backslash.
the zero,
Oh,
the null.
that's the sentinel.
Yeah, that's it's a zero.
That's 0. Is that kind of
That's binary zero, that's a null, right?
like meaning that's like a stopping.
Just gonna put zeros there in that character. So characters in your keyboard had an ASCII code, right? Remember the ASCII codes from the beginning of the semester? So ASCII 0 is a null. You can't type 0 in your keyboard. If you type the character 0, it's stored in the computer as what? 48. So 0 is the null. It's a flag, if you will. And since you're gonna have a day off, I'm gonna be using this library. I want you to look it up. String.h. That library basically it's an easier way to handle the strings. Yes.
For user ID, current equals and input, I'm getting an error saying that a value of type character cannot be assigned to an entity of type character.
Character star is saying that you can't assign user ID cur is a character and then and input is a character address.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, but that's an open semicolon on the end of there. Actually, input.
I guess I haven't had coffee yet. It's my version of copy paste the line above.
Goes like a null.
So I could make a function here to know how many characters I have, or I mean just a while loop, right? So at 0, as long as my current character is different than this, I can count. So for instance, I'm gonna write it here on the left side. If I wanna know the size, I could do it something like this. And I'm gonna create another variable here. Continue. I'll initialize this to true maybe. And I'm gonna make a while loop. And I'll say if what was the user ID, right? User ID size is different null, and I'll increase the size. Otherwise, and then you can print the size of the string. How many characters are in that string? If this were a function, I could make maybe, I'll return the size. So,
after the while statement,
which one? This one?
the before one prior,
The do while?
do while,
Okay.
or would be printing the user's input. Print user ID and then print this user ID too.
I don't understand the question.
Because when I copied the
Uh-huh,
the do and the while, and then I ran the program,
uh-huh.
and it says input the ID, the user ID up to 10. Then I press enter, and
I'll look it up in a minute.
okay.
All right. So this function is built in here. And I think it's called string length. And that's all it does. It's this while loop that's trying to find the null character. I'm missing now. Questions here?
Header string H has to reiterate, header string H just finds the null character.
It has a function called string length that basically does this. Gets the size of the array, of the string array.
String.
So now you have another one. Well, it's going to take me more than 20 minutes to explain to you how to resize an array. Remember last time, I think it was last time or 2 classes ago, we wrote a function to copy an array? As I just remember this. We're going to use it today. So,
Oh yeah.
alright, let's take 10 minutes because I need my coffee.
That's not the one where we sorted it.